So today I'll be showing you guys what to do with maybe like 1 yard of fabric that you have. So this here is not even up to 1 yard. The width is about 1 yard is normally like 30 inches, but this is like 36 inches, sorry, but mine is about 30 inches. So basically this is the fabric here. If I open it up here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it into two this way, right? And then the next thing I'm going to do is to fold it again, right? I'm going to fold it into two again. So now it's folded into four. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this very simple top using this fabric here. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to go up to this part here. So this is going to be my shoulder and this is going to be the end of the dress. So at this shoulder part here, this is like a kimono top. So I'm going to just mark about let's say 4 inches. If you want, you can use 3 inches by 3 inches and just put like a button at the back. It depends on you. So I'm just going to work with 4 inches by about, let's say, 3.5 inches. So the next thing you're going to do is to mark it this way. I give it a curve. So this is going to be my neckline, and I'm going to be using the full length here for my shoulder and the sleeve too, because if I place it here, my shoulder is 16, right? Divided by 2, that's going to be somewhere about 8. So I'm going to have this much left to be my shoulder, because this is a kimono top, to be my sleeve length, because my shoulder normally stops somewhere here, right, at 8. So this the rest here is going to be my sleeve and the seam allowance. So it depends on you. Like if you're using up to 1 yard, the more the length, the more sleeve you will have, and plus the seam allowance too. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down from here and put in my my armhole. So my armhole is 10 inches, right? So I'm going to mark that here, and then 10 inches, because round is 20 divided by 2 is 10. So that's how I got the 10 inches. So then from here, I'm going to put in my shoulder to my waist, which is about 16. And then I'm going to put in the next is just the length. So I'm going to be working with about at this 22. So at this end here is going to be my length, the length of the top. So that's at this point here. So what I'm going to do is this armhole line is going to be my bust line, and then I have my waist, my shoulder. So the lines that I have here is shoulder to my armhole line, which is my armhole divided by 2, which is 10 inches from my shoulder to 10 inches here. And then this one here is 16, that's my shoulder to waist. And then this one here is just going to serve as the line for the end of the top. So what I'm going to do now is to come down here by about 1.5, and then I'm going to connect it to this point here. So I'm going to connect it to this end here. So this is going to give me my shoulder slant, and then so this is going to be my shoulder slant. And then on this line here, I'm going to use this armhole line for my bust line. So I'm going to put in my bust measurement here, and my bust measurement is 42 divided by 4. That's going to be about 10.5. So I'm going to put that in here, 10.5, but I'm going to add extra 2 inches to it, 1 inch of seam allowance and 1 inch of ease. So that's going to be 12.5. So I'm going to put in 12.5 here. And on your waist, you can go ahead and divide the same thing, like your waist measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches. Or if you want, you can just go ahead and put down this same measurement from your bust on this part here. Maybe subtract like half an inch just so it will have a little curve. So like me now, what I'm going to do is, since I have about 12.5 here, I may just bring down 12 inches here, right? And then just take down at the end of the top, I'm just going to put back down that's the 12.5 from the top here. But that's what I'm saying, you can just put the same measurement all the way down, or you can just subtract maybe half an inch from the waistline just so it will have a little curve, and then at the end you just put back the same measurement here. Because remember, this top is not going to reach my hip, so I can't bring up my hip measurement here, but it's just going to stop on top of my hip before it gets to my hip, because it's just a top. So that's why I can't bring up my hip measurement here. So that's why I'm using the same measurement I got from this top part of the bust to put down here. So what I'm going to do now is just to connect the lines, right? Connect this here, connect this here. So I'm going to make my chalk visible. So this here, so on this line now, what I'm going to do, so on this armhole line, I'm just going to come down by about 1 inch here on this line here, and then I'm going to give it a curve. If you want, you can still make, if you feel like this opening might not be enough, you can just come down more, and then you can just come down about 1 inch on the end here, maybe come down 1 inch on the end here, and then just bring down this one a little bit more too, and then give it a curve just to open up this part of your sleeve. But when you're doing that, consider that the sleeve is not that long, and the more you're opening it up, the more you might start to show your side boob. So that's why I'm not going to open up mine a little bit more. But if the sleeve is longer, like you're making it on a longer sleeve, like it still has more room to go, then you might want to open it up a little bit more, but so that it will flow and just go down. But if it's going to be very short, almost like it's hanging on top of your shoulder, and you keep bringing it down here, then at some point it's going to be showing your bra at the side. So what I'm going to do now is to show you guys how I'm going to cut it out. So at this point here, you see my mark that I made here. I'm going to follow this curve and just cut everything out all the way to the end. So you see, and then I'm going to follow this line and cut this out. So guys, I've cut this out, so let me just make sure all the sides are equal. So now for the neckline, you see this is our front neckline, right? But for the back neckline, it's going to be about, let's say you can make it, if you want it to be open, you can just normally do like, let's say your normal 1 inch of back neckline, if you want to just put a button at the back. But if you want it wide, you can just extend it a little bit, maybe 2 inches, so that you don't have to put in any button and your head can still pass through it. And then you also might want to extend this here, maybe make it wider so that your head can pass through it if you're not going to be giving it any button at the back. But since I'm going to be using like button at the back, I'm just going to cut this out. And then I'm going to separate it and then cut out my front neckline. So guys, I've cut out this neckline, and then this is my back neckline. So this is what I took out from here. So now all I have to do is just to, if you have excess fabric, you can go ahead and cut out your facing for this. You can cut out the same neckline, just maybe with 2 inches distance all the way, and then do the same thing for the back as facing. But since I don't have that much fabric to work with, I'm just going to work with bias. So I'm going to use bias to finish up the neckline. But before that, I'm going to, because this neckline will not be open enough for me, I'm going to just come down by about 5 inches here to widen up my neckline. And then I'm going to finish it up with my fabric here. Just sew it down. So I'm going to place it this way. Cut out maybe the same fabric, maybe 6 inches. So my slit here is 5 inches, but I'm going to just cut out something that is about 6 inches. And then what I'm going to do is place it right side facing each other, go to the sewing machine and just make a stitch all the way down here, go up all the way down here, and then cut it open and flip it inside out. And then after that, you just go ahead and join your fabric shoulder to shoulder. Finish shoulder to shoulder, this shoulder, join it to this shoulder, fold the end. So you're going to join the two shoulders together. When you finish up this back here with the facing, you join the two shoulder, fold your sleeve, and then close it up on the side. Use bias to finish up your neckline or facing, whichever one you're working with. So guys, this is it here. So basically I first joined the shoulder, and then I folded the side like how you normally hem the end of your clothes, and then after that I just close the sides here. So that's it. This is what it looks like right now. So I've gotten my bias. So basically this is it, like about 1.5 or 1 inch strip, and then I'm going to use it to finish up this here. I already have a video on how to use bias, so I'm going to use it to finish up the neckline, and then I'm going to fold the end. So guys, I'm going to put a link on how to put in this bias. So I've finished that. So this is, I decided last minute, instead of using button on one side and making the button loop. So basically, to make the button loop is just the same thing how you make a strap. Instead, you just fold it into two this way, and then that's the loop, and then you put button on the other side. But I decided to just make it a rope instead and just tie it at the back here. I think it will look nice. So that's what I decided to do. Like, if this fabric didn't have starch to it, it would just fall in place at the center back. So this is the back of the top, and then this is the front here. So it's just something simple you can do with your 1 yard of fabric, or like less than 1 yard. So that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.